next Sunday we will have fresh new beginning. So before we start the new year, I thought I should touch upon a very important topic. And we all make New Year resolutions. So what is the best resolution that one can make? I want to be happy this year. So that's what everybody wants, happiness. So today's talk is on happiness. How to be happy. So before any spiritual talk, for the success of our understanding of the subject matter, it is very important that we seek the blessings of the Lord and the previous spiritual masters so that we can understand the topic in a very nice way. And ultimately, since the topic is about how to be happy, then be actually happy. So we will recite the Mangalacharan prayers, which are prayers to invoke the blessings of the Lord and previous acharyas, so that we can understand the topics better. Those of you who know these prayers can recite with me, and otherwise you can just hear. Hearing is also as potent as reciting. And if it can be shown on the screen so that others can recite, that's great. Otherwise you can hear. Hearing is also very powerful. So, Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Nitai Satchidananda Dev Bhagwan ki jai. All right. So today's topic is how to be happy. You want to be happy? So, there are two ways to be happy. The first one is by pleasing Bhagwan. Now, if you didn't get that, or the why or how, don't worry about it. But the more obvious one is by pleasing ourselves. Happiness is equated to pleasure. Not just pleasure as in like you go to a spa or a, sauna bath and, you kind of get, not that kind of pleasure, but just anything that makes you happy. Even if your pet dog comes and jumps on you, it makes you happy. Or your child or your loved ones. So, pleasing or that sense of pleasure in various ways gives us the sense of happiness. So that is how we can be happy, or not how we can be happy, but that is how we call happiness, isn't it? Anything else that comes to mind about what constitutes happiness for anyone in this broad sense?
Actually, to make happy Bhagavan, so we don't see Bhagavan. So there should be some means by which we can please Bhagavan.
We will come to pleasing Bhagwan later. I'm talking what the most of the world, 99% of the world, calls happiness. Pleasing Bhagwan as happiness, perceiving that as happiness, is a very, very small percentage of people. So we'll keep that for we'll not break the suspense. Okay?
Doing some service.
Wonderful, doing some
Where
service.
we see a positive effect and bringing joy.
Perfect. So that is also called as happiness by many people, and we will absolutely talk about that. Altruism. Okay, doing something for a cause or for other people's happiness. Okay? All right. So, coming to this topic of how to be happy. Now, we all know how to be happy by doing certain things, maybe for ourselves or for others. You raise your children in a very loving way, and when they grow up, or the act of doing that gives happiness and joy. Later on, when they, come back and reciprocate their love, that gives us happiness for most people. And friends, for many people, it's money, the knowledge that I have a very big bank account, a safety net, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, I don't need to depend on anybody, gives happiness, gives a sense of joy or pleasure. I can, today if I want to go here or there, I can just take a flight and go. All those are sources of happiness in general, yeah? But we will all agree that all these kinds of happiness are temporary and limited. Agreed? It is limited for most people. It may be unlimited for a small set of people. But for most people, it is limited. Nobody is rich enough or has the time. Time is equally divided for all people, or an equal resource for all people. So there is nobody who can enjoy unlimitedly. So limitation, there is a limit on how much we can enjoy or feel happy through that enjoyment. And in many cases, in a different sense, it is temporary as well. Even if we may have the capacity to enjoy more and more and more, we may have the money, we may have the time, but there are other circumstances that make it temporary. Look at Steve Jobs. He had all the money, all the resources, and he got cancer. He got the best treatment. There was no limitation on the treatment that he could get, but still it was limited. It gave him 2 years extra life or whatever, some surgery, some transplant, something, limited. So it is limited and it is temporary. In our relationships, we work very hard sometimes on a relationship. For some months it continues. Yes, you pour your heart out, and the other person is impacted and inspired. Who you want to have a good relationship with could be your spouse, could be your parents, your children, your friends, whoever. Sometimes it lasts for some time, and then in some cases it goes back to the old situation. So ultimately, in this world, happiness is not eternal and it is not unlimited. It's not boundless. And I'm not saying it is non-existent. There is happiness. And that is what gives us sort of like a hope or a formula. It worked once, I'll try that again, and it might work again. And we continue on this path. And that's fine. It does give happiness. Now, if I say that everybody is unhappy, none of you would agree. There are moments, or for some it's a lot, for some it's less, but there is happiness in life. And we try to replicate that. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work also. Hey, I tried the same thing, but it didn't work. Isn't it? So we cannot, or we get confused. We try to refine our formula, we try to analyze what went wrong, what happened, etc., etc. But it's very, very hard to come up with a formula. And then life goes on like this, and one day we are gone without figuring out. Nobody has figured out. The collective mass of billions and billions of people that have lived have, at a material level, have not figured out a sure shot, 100% guaranteed formula for happiness. Why is that? That is because we really do not know who we are and what will give us happiness. That is the claim I am making. We are trying to please our senses, like I said. And senses includes the body and the mind as well. When we get friendship or love, that is pleasure for the mind. When we eat nice things, see nice things, do nice things, that is pleasure or happiness for the body. So we are left confused. Why am I not able to be happy unlimitedly and all the time? And the reason is because we do not know who we are. So let me tell you who we are. We are this body, yes. Look at your bodies. We are this, right? If I cut off your head, you would cease to exist. So you are the body, and then the mind, and I will say a couple of more things now according to our Vedic understanding, intelligence and ahankar, which is translated as false ego. This constitutes who we are. Okay? I will call it as BMIF, body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. But there is one more item or one more thing in this composition, which is the soul. So who we are is a composition of all these things. But many people, many people do not know that there is a soul. Or they may not really know. Most of the Indian population, at least born in India, knows there is a soul. You know, but it's a very casual understanding, okay, there's a soul, to really understand that. Moreover, to understand that soul also has a capacity to be happy, that is really not known. And to know that if the soul becomes happy, then everything else will also become happy. So, the prioritization of the happiness of the soul over and above all else, which is the BMIF, body, mind, intelligence, and false ego, is also not known. And finally, what is not known is how to make the soul happy. So many things are not known. So let's see, what all is not known? That there is a soul. There is a capacity for the soul to be happy, which is different from If your pet dog comes and jumps on you, it may or may not make your soul happy. It may make your mind happy. Oh, my pet loves me so much. So there is a separate capacity for the soul to be happy. That's the second thing. The third thing is that if the soul is happy, or that is the highest priority, for many people, for example, happiness of the, let me ask you, happiness of the mind and happiness of the body, which one would you choose, given a choice? Mind, right? People say, right, friends are better than money, or you cannot, all these quotes are there, right? Real happiness is that which cannot be purchased, right? You can go to the best restaurant, you can fly in the first class seats in the aeroplanes, but if nobody likes you, you have no friends, you may still be the most lonely person and the most unhappy person, right? So friendships, things, these are all aspects of the mind. They cannot be. So similarly, so since you can differentiate happiness of the mind and happiness of the body, therefore, you can also extend at least this argument and say there is something called happiness of the soul, which may be different from all of these. We'll come to that, but at least you can imagine that there could be something like that. Okay, so knowing that the soul has a separate capacity to be happy, and its priority, like, and you just said, mind's happiness for most of you or for all of you is higher than priority than happiness of the body. People go great lengths to make their friends happy at personal expense, isn't it? So, you take on effort, you take on discomfort, inconvenience for your friends. So that is unhappiness of the body to get happiness of the mind, right? Similarly, there can be possibly happiness of the soul as well, at probably deprioritizing the other ones. And finally, how to make the soul happy, we do not know, or many not know. Understood? So there is so much we don't know. Right? So what did we say? There is so much we don't know. Knowledge is called what? Another knowledge, another term? Vidya. Vidya, Gyan. So again, once again, 4 things we don't know. What do we not know? Soul, that there is a soul. Now many know, let's say. The percentage keeps reducing, by the way. Second one? Soul also needs happiness. Third? No, that's the 4th. How to make happy. That the soul's happiness is a higher priority than the others. And 4th, how to make the soul happy. So whoever does not know all these 4, or not the non-knowledge of these 4 things, is called avidya. At a basic level, at a common layman level, this is if somebody asks, this concept of avidya is not a very simple thing. It is a very deep-rooted concept in our Vedic understanding. Because it is said that the root cause of all suffering for all jivas in this material world is avidya or ajnana. That is how we started our Mangalacharan prayer. Om ajnanati mirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. That we have been under this ajnana forever. And my pranam to the Guru who has opened my eyes to this jnana. That's in a sense what that prayer says. But it shows the importance of jnana. So is it clear what is avidya? Really, this is avidya. It all distills down to this. that we are trying to seek happiness. It's not wrong to seek happiness at all. It is enshrined in our constitution. Unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, isn't it? That is how the United States Constitution begins. And the rest of the Constitution, and for all countries, it's like that, similarly worded. I don't know the other ones. I don't even know fully the US one. But the rest of it is to support this end goal. So, happiness, it's not wrong to be happy at all. There should be happiness. The only problem is we don't know. We have this avidya. Okay? So now how to fix it? How to get the right knowledge, or how to fix that situation? So we'll come to that in a second. Okay? Now, if I tell you, leave everything you have, your family, your bank balance, your house, take sannyas, go to the forest, do something, meditate, blah, blah, blah. And it will give you happiness of the soul, which is the highest. How to get that happiness, all those things. Do you think anybody here would take up that process? No, and it's not practical. It's completely impractical. And that's not recommended either. A gradual progression is given. And it starts with material happiness, right here, right now. So even though we say that by pleasing Bhagavan, or by going to the forest and doing this meditation or whatever, you will get happiness of the soul, or some may even go to the extent of saying that do this great effort in this life, then next life you will be happy. Or take on this huge 20-year journey of going into the caves in the Himalayas, and then after 20 years, or maybe next life, who knows? Maybe a tiger will come and eat you by that time in the caves. Then you will be happy after you have been digested by the tiger. So that is not the right understanding. That happiness of the soul can be experienced right here in this world, in Portland, Oregon, where there are no tigers, in the urban society, right now. Now, of course, not right now as in today, but my point is, it's not like some kind of a marketing scheme. After you invest for 20 years, every month you keep paying. Somebody was pitching me this thing. My mom passed away recently, so she had some pension. It was a decent amount, few lakh rupees that had collected, because she was building up in India. So we withdrew that and took it to deposit in a bank. Oh my God, I had to suffer 3 hours. That guy was like, first the sub-branch manager tried to convince me, we have all these various schemes. Then he called his boss saying, he made a phone call to somebody else, can you tell him of these other schemes? I was asking questions. Now I wanted to just deposit my money and get out of there, and just put it in a fixed deposit, which is the least risky and the most brain dead one. He was trying to sell me all these things. And I didn't want to be like, dude, if you're not going to deposit it, I'll go open a bank account in another bank and just deposit it over there. Just let me go. I didn't want to be rude or something, so I was going through that, and 3 hours he was trying to tell me all these things, and every single scheme was, if you do this for 20 years or some really long number of years, then you will, get this thing. I'm like, no, I want my interest every year. Put it in a fixed deposit, and also in the fixed deposit where the interest is not accruing or not added back. Because, I want to enjoy that money. I want, for whatever, whenever I go to India, I want to be able to put in my ATM card, get money, pay for whatever, things that I want to do there. So everyone is trying to pitch that. And people think that in spiritual circles also it is like that. Right there's a donation box. Keep putting money till the end of your life. Next life you will, आज 1 रुपया दो, भगवान अगले जन्म में 10 रुपया देगा. अरे किसने देखा है अगला जन्म? Who has seen the next life? So that is the incorrect understanding. The correct understanding is that the happiness can be experienced right now. Not right now, but in this life, with a small amount of, it's not a marketing scheme. So for that, the Vedas it's a gradual process, and the Vedas describe these 4 goals or 4 aspects of human life known as the 4 Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, which are related to BMIF. Now, all of you might have heard of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, but its connection to BMIF, body, mind, intelligence, and Ahankar or false ego may not be very obvious. So, the first thing is at the bodily level, just basic survival, isn't it? In Hindi we say roti, kapda or makan. There's even a movie like that, I think. Roti, kapda or makan. What? Food, clothing and shelter, right? Health insurance is also included in that. It should be updated to roti, kapda, makan or dawai. See, in earlier times it was more a sattvic life and there were no diseases as such. These diseases have come. Anyway, we want to go into that. So that is called artha. So to pursue artha gives some happiness. Ask a person who is on the street, a homeless person, he would be mighty happy to just get some food, clothing and shelter. He says, I don't need friends. I don't need all those things. If you can just give me every day some bread, when it's cold, I need something warm and just a roof on my head when it's raining. I'll be very happy. Okay, once that happens for some time, then no, that's not enough. Now I want some friends or some pleasure of the mind. That is kama. So one seeks pleasure of the mind. Okay? And when one seeks pleasure of the mind is insatiable. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, the mind is like a fire. You keep pouring ghee or fuel into it, thinking that one day it will get satisfied and then, we can move on to the next thing. It's not like the stomach where you fill it and then you feel like no more. I'm done. That is artha part. So the mind can never be satiated. And then once you realize, then you go to other sinful means, this is the classic story of all the people who are on drugs, for example, because it gives so much instant gratification of the mind that you want more. And then when you run out of money, you go steal, you go do sinful acts to get the money to get that enjoyment of the mind. What are drugs? But we are all on drugs. Not the marijuana drugs, but these other drugs, whatever it may be. That is kama. But life doesn't go like that. Do drugs help? No. One day it will lead to your death. Or all this, in other words, unlimited enjoyment is unsustainable. We already discussed that in the very beginning. You try to enjoy. If there is no regulation, it will ultimately lead to destruction. Right? So, to enjoy sense gratification or kama on a sustained basis, we need a regulated society. What is regulated society? Living in a, with some rules and regulations, so that we can collectively enjoy on a sustained basis. Isn't it? Like a very simple example is like a street, a 2-lane street. Okay? If there is a traffic jam, now most of us from India, right? One side there's a traffic jam. Now you're stuck. What do? You go on the oncoming lane and try to get by, isn't it? Isn't it? I've done that when I was young. Tulsi, we did that, remember, on the van? From Mayapur to Kolkata. We would have missed the flight. So, that was justified. Anyway. So we do that. That may work once or twice. But if everybody begins to do that, and even if I were to do that all the time, so again you have to take the larger picture, the statistical or the scalable picture in mind, it doesn't work. We all understand that it's a bad strategy. I'm just talking pure, simple, mathematical game theory. Game theory means you come up with strategies to win. So winning is not a bad thing, let's say, but you must have a sustainable winning. There's no point in winning once. So sustained happiness is obtained. So we all know that, the best strategy for a larger, there can be 1 or 2 bad apples, and then you need enforcement to keep them in check. But the best strategy for this kind of, when there is a traffic jam, is to stay in your lane. Don't jump the lane. On a large scale level, it's the best strategy to get out of it fastest. Agreed? And that is called dharma. So we talked about artha, bodily level. We talked about kama, which is at the level of the mind. And now we are talking about dharma, the rules and regulations of this organized society, also called as varnashram dharma. That is the reason why it is called varnashram dharma. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but it is the organization of the society that allows all of us to be happy at a sustained level collectively. Bodily happiness, mind happiness, economic happiness, all kinds of happiness. Agreed? You wouldn't want to go live in a country where there's no governance. Shri Shri Sai Sachidananda Bhagwan ki jai. And then comes, let's say we have all this. Even in the most affluent societies, even in the most affluent, most powerful, the most richest person, they also are not happy all the time or unlimitedly happy all the time. Because this definition of happiness keeps going up. Like I said, for the homeless, it may be, okay, if I have that. And then the next thing, I want the next thing. And you keep raising, as you keep achieving, it's like a carrot in front of a donkey. It just keeps moving ahead and ahead and ahead. You never touch the finish line. I love reading history. Recently, I was reading about JFK, John F. Kennedy. I mean, I've read about Trump and Biden also, but the problem with them is that all the secrets are not yet revealed. The backstories, what really happened and all that. With the older guys, things get declassified over 30, 40, 50 years, and then you get to know, aha. Right now we can only speculate. It's Russia, whatever, whether it was a Hillary Clinton thing or not, or who knows. 50 years later, maybe we'll know. I won't know, my children might know. I'll be dead. Right? But if you go older, then you get to see probably, again, who knows what's the truth, but at least, you can see the picture. JFK, you can say safely the most powerful person on earth at the time is the US president or whatever, right? And he was a rich person. His father was in the government and this and that. He was very affluent and very powerful. And his presidency became the president. And he was very unhappy during his presidency. He had no support of the people, at least as far as I read. The first thing was, at least as I understand, he was betrayed by his own CIA, the Bay of Pigs. They didn't tell him that if that fails, we would like you to authorize a full official invasion of Cuba. After that failed, they went to him, we would like to invade. He said, no way. He said, that was all planned all along. He said, you didn't tell me if that was the plan. I wouldn't have even authorized the Bay of Pigs. You just wanted to do a covert operation and I signed off on it. First setback. Second setback, he wanted to initiate talks with the Soviet Union. Khrushchev, the most hardliner guy. Everybody advised him against it and it didn't go well in Vienna. Setback. Vietnam War was going on. He wanted a breakthrough. He was like this guy who was more like peace, which is a good thing. Anyway, that's what history tells us. And things weren't making progress. There was even no way to communicate with the North Vietnamese, it seems. Imagine, the President of the United States does not have a channel to communicate with the North Vietnamese people. They were the opposite side, North Vietnamese. So it seems he found out that Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the Prime Minister at that time, had good connections with the North Vietnamese. So he wanted to send the United States ambassador to India in New Delhi to talk to the Indian government to send a message. He sent that message to one of his people to send it to the US ambassador in New Delhi. That message was never delivered. Imagine the US president saying, and it was never delivered. This was declassified in 1990s by Bill Clinton. How many years? 70, 30 years later. I mean, that was like a shocking revelation to me. A direct, this is like straight out of the movies. President says, do this, and you just don't do it. He was feeling powerless. He was feeling powerless. On the other side, Khrushchev was a little too soft on the United States for the Cuban Missile Crisis. It seems that, right, he was making good headway with Kennedy later on, and then after Kennedy was killed, assassinated and all that, Khrushchev was just removed. It seems from the history books his name was removed. They did not even give him a official last whatever rites. He was buried in some unknown place. Like he was completely like, he was a disgraced president of the Soviet Union. Power, money, richness does not lead to happiness. And that leads to moksha, the concept of moksha. So we talked about artha at the bodily level, kama at the level of the mind, dharma for an organized society to be happy, and even in that society, it is hard to be happy, even if you are at the top of that society. The head of the society, let's say, is the government. We say it's varnashram dharma, but let's say it's the government. You know, we're pretty organized here in the United States. We don't, you know, block lanes, for example, like we discussed, most of the time. The head of that government is also unhappy. And last time I think I narrated the story of Ronald Reagan, another celebrated president. Anyway, I don't want to become a history class. So moksha means, chodo, just leave everything. Hell with everything. That innate desire that once you've realized that nothing, you keep raising the bar, maybe this will, maybe once I become the president, maybe, done. Finally you realize that it's a rat race or it's a hamster wheel. Then you say, how can I get rid of everything? The English word is that, and the Sanskrit word is moksha. To get rid of all this material conception that this will make me happy, or that will make me happy, or that will make me happy. To completely realize that nothing is going to make me happy ever is the desire for moksha. So that does give happiness, but that's a very, very, very high standard. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sammoham sarva bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate pran. This is that state of moksha. But even there, now again, this is not something we have experienced, because again, I have certainly, I'm trillions and quadzillions of miles away from moksha, but our scriptures tell us that even there is no happiness, or there is less happiness. There is a higher state of happiness. Why? Because if you think so far, this whole thing that we have been talking about, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, are connected to BMIF. Body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. We have still forgotten something. What is that? Remember the first thing that we talked about, avidya. It had everything to do with the happiness of the soul. That is still not catered to. Moksha only caters to ahankar. It is the dissolution of ahankar completely. That ahankar is, oh, this will make me happy. That avidya, that something will make me happy, which is not catering to the soul. Somebody talked about altruism or a cause. That's no different from this. Because you're just shifting your conception of happiness for your personal happiness to someone else's happiness. If I do this, it will make him happy. So it gives some happiness, but again, it's temporary and it's limited. Let's say you find a homeless person, and I went and did that. I work at Intel. They have this thing called, what you call this, community days or volunteer days. So I went and built a homeless shelter. I spent 5 days a year, 40 hours I donated, whatever they call it so I went and hammered nails into whatever, those things. So I got a sense of happiness. I built but again, once you try to make others happy and they are not happy. How many of you have tried making others happy? They're happy for some time, and then you said, oh, I did all this and still he's not happy, isn't it? So it is nothing but shifting from your personal sense to someone else, and the same story repeats. True altruism is to make others realize this whole thing about that the highest happiness is the happiness of the soul, and how to make the soul happy. To give that knowledge to others is considered to be the highest altruism, because then you are really making them happy, but for that you have to first know yourself. What is happiness? And you should have experienced and tasted it a little. So now we come back to those questions. Who are we? Are we just the BMIF? No, there is an S, the soul as well. So that's the first removal of avidya and replacing it with vidya, or removal of the ajnana and replacing it with the gyan, with gyan. And then the other things, that the soul also has a capacity to be happy. The soul's happiness trumps the other happinesses of the other entities. And finally, how to make the soul happy. That would complete these will be the sort of the sections in a book of how to be happy. These will be the chapters, right? So the first thing is to realize our true identity. Now this is a very, 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 very big topic. There is no time, and we do a lot of classes in the temple. There are many groups where we do a lot of discussions and classes. So if you are interested in understanding more, deeper, the details, you have to, that's the effort that needs to be put in. I cannot give you a pill of happiness today and make you happy. That would be called marijuana. Nothing else. You can go high for 2 hours, maybe 2 days, and then it will wean off or wear off. So there is no pill. So that is the effort that you will need to put in. So the first step is to understand, or is to know our true identity. And for that, we have to go to the masters who have not only understood their own identity, but know the way of showing us, guiding us, where we can realize the path on which we should walk to realize our own identity. And they have got this understanding through the sacred writings known as the Shastras or the scriptures. Among all scriptures, I'm going a little fast because this stuff is very deep, but I want to complete the discussion and leave you with enough curiosity for you to investigate further, explore further, and hopefully take up this journey of replacing your avidya with vidya, ajnana with jnana. So there are so many of these sacred texts or shastras that it's not possible to go into them even in 10 lifetimes, what to speak of one lifetime. So the foundational textbook is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it contains the essence of all sacred texts. And the Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that to understand our true identity, first we must understand, or to understand who we really are. And who we really are is, of course, the BMIF. It's not right to say we are not the body. In a true sense, yes, we are not. But, that's where it becomes conceptual. If you keep saying too much that we are completely not. To some extent, at least at a beginner level, it's very hard to try and, it just becomes, for me at least, it becomes words. But we are also the soul, and not only that, most importantly, that's the most important aspect, and it's the biggest aspect. Then I can, at least at my beginner level where I am, I can begin to at least agree with that. So one can try to start with that understanding. That there is the soul. But to understand who we are, the first step, according to, now this may seem completely unintuitive, completely unrelated. Okay? It's like you're asking me how to go to Los Angeles, and I'm trying to tell you, go eat an apple. Wait a minute, how does eating an apple, what does it have to do with going to Los Angeles? Tell me the directions. So it may sound unintuitive, but to understand, there was just a example. To understand who we are, we must first understand who is Bhagavan, who is God. Because we are integral parts and parcels of Bhagavan. Now you see the connection? Mameva amsho jiva loke, jiva bhutah sanatana. Krishna is saying, Mama eva amsha. Mere amsha hain, jiva loka. In this loka, in this material world, all the jivas are my amsha, my parts and parcels. The next is to understand that Bhagavan has not just, we are parts and parcels and he has left us alone. He is with us here as the Paramatma to guide us in our journey. The first guru, I said about gurus or masters who have understood this, he is the first master, known as the Chaitya Guru, the guru in the heart, who will lead us to a guru whom we can actually, and who can speak English or Tamil or Telugu or whatever may be your language, Russian. So a physical guru who can, talk to us, come to our level and, really like a person guru, like a teacher, like you say, teacher, Mr. So-and-so. And then finally to realize that Paramatma is an expansion of that person Bhagwan, who is eternally in his abode in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. We call it Goloka Vrindavan, where he is performing his eternal pastimes, his eternal joyful activities with his eternal companions. And then to realize that our real identity is among one of those, with him over there. To realize that is the realization of our true identity. So I went like really fast. 20, 25, 30, 40 years or lifetimes worth of pathway or progress in 2 minutes. So again, there's no much point in talking about all those things when we are like, it's like talking about how to go about Los Angeles when you're sitting in Portland and you don't even know after getting out of the temple I have to take a right or a left. And you're explaining, oh, over there are these big buildings and there's this and that and that. It's meaningless. First tell me take left or right here. So that process is called bhakti. So completely, so if one is interested in that real happiness, in the true happiness, which is eternal and unlimited, which is where we started our discussion, and this is where we connect with pleasing Bhagwan. So understanding who is Bhagwan in a step-by-step way, and understanding that we have a place with him in the spiritual world as our true identity, and that's our true identity. And with that identity, and it's not about going there and being happy, it's the realization of that identity which makes you happy. Okay? It's not like somebody comes and predicts, oh, one day you will become the president of the United States. Now you're waiting, okay, the day I will become president, then I will be happy. No, that's the material discussion. The moment you realize your spiritual identity, the moment you realize your spiritual identity, you become happy right now. At that moment, that can happen in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 25 years, 25 lifetimes, I don't know. That depends on the seriousness of one's practice of bhakti. What is bhakti? Is devotionally trying to do things that please Bhagwan. And Bhagwan has said, if you want to make me happy, you come and ask me what will make you happy, Prabhu. I'll tell you, get me the latest iPhone, that will make me happy. Or whatever, Shishnitay Sachinande Bhagwan ki jai. We'll end in a few minutes quickly here. So similarly, Bhagwan tells us what will make him happy, and he tells us some very simple things. He doesn't need the latest iPhone or the latest Tesla or the latest this or that. He just wants us to remember him. In a very simple way, just like this is a common scenario in India where, it's true probably here as well. Actually, it was true in Ronald Reagan's case as well. I probably narrated that story enough number of times, but a child calling up a parent gives the parent most happiness, once they have grown up, that is. So just remembering Krishna, because he's our father, gives him happiness. And that is bhakti in essence. That remembrance can take on forms like singing for him, taking his name in various ways, as japa, as kirtana, in the mind, as smarana, and so on. And by this process, when done sincerely, when done very, very sincerely under the guidance of a proper guru, then it leads to that realization of our true identity, and it can happen right here while you are in this material world, and make you completely happy, unlimitedly happy, even in this life. You don't have to die and go to Vaikuntha to be happy. That same happiness can be experienced here. So, I hope, so that's the end of the talk, and it kind of, the goal was to give a sort of a summary of how to be happy. So, we discussed what is happiness at a material level. Material happiness is not bad, it's fine to get it. We discussed how happiness at the body, mind, intelligence and false ego level, BMIF, connected with dharma, artha, kama and moksha. And ultimately realized that even that is not true happiness. We can realize the first ones through our experiences. Moksha, we have to just trust that even there is not the full happiness, because we forgot one essential ingredient of who we are, which is the soul. And then we discussed how to make the soul happy. The process starts with realizing that we are the soul. For that we must realize who is Bhagavan, because we are a part of Bhagavan. So to realize who is, to understand nicely who is Bhagavan, then to realize we are part of Bhagavan, and finally to realize that that Bhagavan is a person and we have a place right by his side. That's our real identity. And being by his side makes us happy, or realizing the identity that we are by his side. Not being by his side, but realizing our identity as being with him, as being his associate, is the ultimate goal of happiness. And the process to reach there is bhakti. And bhakti, in simple terms, is always remembering Krishna. Tasmat kenapi upayena manah Krishna niveshayet. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any questions? Okay.
In terms of knowing the ideal, we know the goal, the ultimate goal, but how, as a neophyte, as someone who is beginning the process, how can we have a taste of that so that we can, be encouraged along the way?
Okay, so the question is, as a beginner, how can we get a taste of that end goal so that we can be encouraged along the way? Good question. So you cannot get the taste yourself, okay? Because you have to kind of reach there to get the taste yourself. But there are many others who have got that taste, who are here present, not maybe in this room, but on the planet. Go associate with them. Look at them. Look at their life. Just like if you want to become a billionaire, don't we always try to read Elon Musk, what does he do, or presidents and this and that and that? And you go, wow, he has 50 cars, or he's so powerful. Wow, I want to be like that. So read about them, better possible, be with them or be around them, and you'll be filled with inspiration. You'll be so packed with inspiration, hopefully, that, yeah. Okay? Yes.
I have a comment on this stage that he has a question about that when you experience the God's grace, the God's closeness, you feel that the God is in the center, like a sun, and all the planets are going around. In your life, God is center, and everything you are doing is around it. For example, I'm a mother. I have to help my kids. I have to help my family. I'm doing job. It's all this is I'm doing. But who is in the center? It's a God. I'm doing everything for God. In the morning when I wake up, I say, God, I'm doing everything for you today. And help me to do everything I do. Even I'm cooking food, I say, God, help me to cook food. Now everybody's going to ask me, how did you make this good food? Who made it? It's He.
Thank you.
Yes, so this is all about that.
That is?
I experienced his life. I'm not lying. When I was 6 years old, my parents gave me Gita. So let me just tell you in one sentence. So I followed Gita from the 6 years of age. And I experienced his grace. I experienced his light. And it was amazing. He's real. He's real. He is so magnificent. I don't have any words to describe him. I love him so much. In the beginning, I see him everywhere. When I open eyes, everything is him. I really had a hard time to do even anything, like driving car and things. And I say, God, please help me to all the things that I do. Because I miss him so much. It's his life. He is egoless. He has every single thing in him. That's why he's a Purushottam Narayan. And I'm not lying, I'm telling you the truth. And I'm just telling you that just praise him. Nobody's like him. And I bore him every day. I ask him that be my light, be my breath. Every day I'm living for you, God. Every breath I take is for you, God. And that's who I am. My destiny is him. I live in his life. I live by his rules. And I'm his devotee, I'm his child. And he described just like that, that we are part of his ansh, we are his ansh, we are his energy. Whatever you want to form, that I'm his child, I'm his devotee, but he is ultimate truth and he is only the truth. God bless him, God bless this world. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
You're just going to add on to say that when we do service, sometimes we feel that happiness, that small taste will come, very small glimmer, but will come, either chanting, resting.
Yes. Yeah, so what Mataji is saying is that various forms of service, which is a synonym for bhakti. Seva and bhakti are synonymous in our terminology. So, remembering Krishna is a seva, and more practical forms are singing for him, cooking for him, and doing many other kinds of seva. Okay, we will end there. Sorry for going over a little bit. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So now we'll stand up. Please put away the mats and we will do some very nice kirtan. So I don't know who's scheduled to do kirtan, but I guess Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Bumper? Bumper. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunavadi Pachatadashatarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Sri Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Jaya Nitai Shachi Nandan Jaya Nitai Shachi Nandan Nitai Shachi Nandan Jaya Nitai Shachi Nandan Jaya Nitai Shachi Nandan Nitai Shachi Nandan Nitai Shachi Nandan Nitai Shachi Nandan Jaya Panchotato Jaya Praya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Pramanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagastya Jastadasya Javangri Saisi Bhaktam Dasa Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Guru Parampara Shara Krishna Prabhugan Ki Namasra Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Se Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Binda Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Sri Gata Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai Shri Sri Nitai Shachinandan Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Radha Madhav Vastashoki Binda Ki Sarva Vigna Vinashakari Bhakta Rakshakari Bhagwan Snehadev Ki Bhagavaner Narahari Roop Ki Shuddha Bhakta Se Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories the Samantabhas the Hare Krishna, all glories the Samantabhas the Hare Krishna, all glories the Samantabhas the Hare Krishna, all glories is Guru and Gaurango, all glories is Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya Pravodagadarayine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha नरसिंह भगवान की।
नहीं, नहीं।
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री निताय सचिनंदन देव भगवान की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Thank you, dear devotees, for coming for today's Sunday feast. Obviously, the devotees who generally announce is not here, so that's why I'm doing this service. Prabhuji, do we have anyone here for the very first time? If you are, if you can say your name and from where you are.
So my name is D.N. Chatterjee. I'm from Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for coming.
My wife is here, and my daughter and my son-in-law. My son-in-law is in the Oregon State University faculty,
Oh,
and my daughter is in the US Bank.
oh. So you live in Corvallis or you live in this area? Oh, okay.
Very,
Very,
very happy. And I'm also associated with ISKCON Dhaka
okay, very nice.
for a long time, for 40 years almost.
How is the temple doing right now in Dhaka?
Yeah, all the series of things going on. I am more or less conversant, and also I'm representing Sri Sri Dhakeshwari National Temple.
Thank you.
I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Dhakeshwari Temple Management Committee. And we have been in Dhaka in Bangladesh for 40 years, fighting for the restoration of rights of the minorities in Bangladesh.
Thank you for coming, Prabhuji. Will you be here like in this area for some time or you're just visiting for a few weeks?
Canada, my son is in the Canada.
Oh,
In Canada, so I've been going there on the first.
okay.
And that's all, and I'll be coming again since my son-in-law and daughter is there.
Okay.
Namaskar and namaste to all.
Very well. Thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you for your family for coming for today's Sunday feast. You are living on first, but if you get a chance again to come, please visit our temple. Yes, Prabhuji, you had your hand raised, or you were here earlier, or this is the first time?
First time.
What's your name? Ryan. Do you live in this area, or
Yeah, I live here.
how did you heard about this temple?
My parents told me.
Oh, very nice. Oh, thank you for bringing your son. Thank you. Thank you. Whenever you get chance, please come. I hope everything was fine here when you came. Thank you. Anybody else? So we have another permanent visitors here. His Grace Murli Madhav Das Prabhuji. He traveled from Vrindavan, and he will be our third residence pujari for the service of Sri Sri Nitai Sachinandan. In the past, he has served in Philippines, Vrindavan, and Radhakund. Would you like to say something, Prabhuji? So Prabhuji came this week, last week, in fact, on 23rd, still going through jet lags, but he has started doing service, and we request all of you to pray that he continue and do the service of Sri Sri Nitai Sanchinandan as other pujaris are doing. So we have Sudama Pran Prabhu, Ram Vanwali Das Prabhuji, and Murli Madhav Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you for coming and serving Sri Sri Nitai Sachinandan. I hope you find everything good here and continue to do the service of Hare Krishna. Any birthdays, anniversary for last week? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol. Anybody else? The room? So let's, yes, Mataji. Thank you. Our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Rompad Swami's Maharaj birthdays. Are you announcing? Anybody else? No, so let's wish all these wonderful devotees birthdays, anniversary by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So we have a drama series, right? Last month we had killing of Putana. Now the second part, killing of Sakatasura and Trinavrata. The drama team is trying to organize that on 19th of January. It's going to be a wonderful drama, so please mark your calendar and please make sure you visit the temple on 19th. It will be during the Sunday feast time. We will announce the exact timing probably in a week or so. Anything else, Prabhuji? As always, we have a calendar outside as well, and Vedagdamada Prabhuji always mention here the sponsorship for the Sunday feast and the flowers. There are some suggested donations. There could be more than one family donating for particular event. There are still some slots available. If you wish to donate, please sign up outside on the temple, outside on the hallway, or let us know and we will put your name, and on behalf of you, the offering of that day will be made to Sri Srinitai Sachinanda. Okay. So there are lots of devotees visiting at this time of the year. We know we have the year end and the new year, but there is no official program being facilitated on the 1st or the 31st, but temple is open. We request you to come, visit, take the darshan of Sri Srinitai Sachinandan and be blessed with that. But there is no program as scheduled for 31st or the 1st. Okay. That's it for today. Yes, Prabhuji.
So, 2026 is here. Sorry. I'm always 1 year ahead. So, 2025 is here, and we have the calendars for 2025, the BBT calendars, which are very, have a nice painting of the Lord for each month. And then all the various tithis and various festivals, Vaishnava festivals, and very nice calendar, $7. Anu Mataji is there. She takes care of the gift shop. So you can get a copy of a calendar if you haven't done so. That's one thing. And the second one is, all of us know Pattabhi Ram Prabhu. He has sponsored a box of Bhagavad Gitas, which is kept right there on the altar. So it has been paid for. If you would like a free copy of the Bhagavad Gita, please feel free to take one. If you want to give a donation, you can give it to me. Don't put it in the book money, and the money that goes in the box is little kept in separate accounts. You can put it in the box. It's all for the Lord. That's fine. Better you give it to me, or it's free of cost. If you want to give a donation, that's when I was saying you can give it to me. If not, they're free to take. If you don't have it, or you want to take it for your friend, or you want to take for, keeping one in your workplace, one in your car, or whatever you want, feel free to take a copy. It has been sponsored by Pattabhi Ram Prabhu. And Ashish Prabhu, did all your Bhagavad Gitas go away the other day? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So they are there in that box over there. Brown box. And if you want to sponsor, you're welcome to sponsor a box. Similarly, like Pattabhi Ram Prabhu sponsored, it's $125. Paperback, 24 copies come in it. Hardbound, 16 copies come. Price is the same, but hard.
That's it from the announcement side. I would Just request one more thing. Lots of devotees who generally do the service in the kitchen are out today. So after prasadam, once you honor the prasadam, if you get time, please help in cleaning the prasadam area. Thank you.
जय महाप्रसाद की, श्री श्री निताय सच्चिदानंद भगवान की, महाप्रसादे गोविंदे, नाम ब्रह्मणे वैष्णवे, स्वल्प पूर्णं बतं राजन्, विश्वास नैव जायते, शरीर विद्याजाल, जड़ेन्द्रियता है काल, जीवो फैले विषसागरे, तार मध्य जीवागति, लाभमय सुधर्मति, ताके जेता कठिन संसारे, कृष्ण बड़ दयामय, करिबारे जीवा जय, स्वप्रसाद अन्न दिल भाई, से अन्नमृत पाओ, राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ, प्रेमे डाक श्री चैतन्यताय, जय निमाय जय निताय, जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य, प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर, श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम